Welcome to the Uptown Parlay Podcast. We got Ace, Malik, Ant, and Levon.
What up?
What's going on today?
What's up, guys? What's going on? Happy Halloween.
Hiding from the kids.
Happy Halloween.
Hiding from the kids that's going to want to ask for candy.
Is anybody doing anything for Halloween?
Not anymore.
Other than taking my kids to their respective events, that's it.
Oh, down.
I'll put it this way. I'm not going to ask whether you're dressing up. I'm going to ask when was the last time you did dress up for Halloween? And then what were you?
Years ago. I can't remember what I was. I'm going to say a Ninja Turtle. A Ninja Turtle.
So that was pre-kids?
That was, oh yeah. I have never dressed up for Halloween as an adult. Never.
Oh, okay.
Outside of putting on like maybe some bat ears or something just because, or I don't consider that dressing up like a full-blown costume.
Yeah.
I haven't done that since elementary school, to be honest. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
COVID.
That's crazy. That's crazy, man.
Ace, what about you?
Last time I dressed up would have been Coco Beware, and that would have been 2014. No, wait, that's a lie. The last time I would have dressed up would have been 2016. The last time I remember dressing up was Coco Beware.
That was awesome.
2015.
Okay.
Was that a party?
Yeah, that was me as breathalyzer. That was at Malik's house, 2012 or 2011. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Remember that, Malik? The breathalyzer costume?
No, I do remember it.
Yeah.
I do remember it. That was a couples thing, wasn't it? I can't remember if it was you and
I don't think
lady
so.
at the time.
You just came in there.
so.
Everyone laughing at that.
I could have sworn you did you and your lady
We
at
weren't
the time
mentioned. I know that.
Okay.
Oh, wait. No, I take that back. I dressed up as The Walking Dead because Chris was Michonne and I was a different character. That's right. So
Okay,
it was
so that
after
was-
Coco Beware. So that would have been like 2017. Yeah,
I'm just broke.
married.
Nice.
Okay. So I'm the only one of us that still does that. So
Oh, no, I was dressing up this year, but the kids got sick, so we're not
When
going
you dress
nowhere.
up, Malik?
So the last time I dressed up, it wasn't last year, it was 2 years ago. And my wife and I, we were invited to a party for a couple years after we moved down here to Georgia. We were invited to a party, and we did couples. The party they did couples costumes, and so the first year we went, I can't remember what we did. The first year we went,
Ike and Tina?
but the second year we went, no, definitely not that. But the second year we went, we did Wolverine and Storm.
Okay.
And then this year we're doing Morticia and Gomez Adams.
I like that.
So we'll do that, and we'll be handing out the candy and all of that stuff. So I like to do that. I mean, my kids are still, well, at least my daughter's still very, very much into Halloween. So she kind of puts the peer pressure on me to keep it up while she's away in college. And then when she comes back, she'll put the pressure on me to keep it going then too. So, but I don't know. I guess growing up in New York and not having that experience for so long, because, in New York, if you wasn't throwing eggs at places, like you wasn't really getting involved. Like living in an apartment building, it was hard to do that. It was hard to trick or treat when you lived in an apartment building. You know what I mean?
You just go from floor to floor,
you
my
didn't
guy.
know who was. Yeah, but you didn't always know who was, participating.
Fair.
You know what I'm saying?
Fair.
Like, it wasn't like clear to you.
Some people would dress up their door, but not too many. You're right.
Yeah.
You kind of had to cut that out by the time we got to be about 12.
Yeah. And then they started trying to do community centers and stuff like that.
I remember. Oh, man. Taking my sister trick-or-treating in our building. When I was a kid, it was easy. Everybody was doing it. You knock on the door, somebody open it up. But when my sister started going, I got older, I was taking her. I remember knocking on doors, and people would actually curse at you like,
yeah,
fuck away my door. Stop bringing my goddamn door. Like, oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
And then when my kids were born, they started doing the neighborhoods, like stores would do it, or you could go to the mall.
Yeah.
And the mall would do it, but they would only have so much candy, and it would be gone by like 4 o'clock in the afternoon,
Yeah.
you'd get there by 6, that shit is gone, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I just had to start going to other neighborhoods. A friend of mine who used to live in New Rochelle would have me come up there and hang out in his neighborhood and trick or treat with the kids out there. So that's how we kind of got into it and just kept it going. So
see, because I moved around so
we moved
much
down here, looked into it.
Because I moved around so much, you could do that in Jamaica, Queens a little bit. People were a little bit nicer back then, late 80s, early 90s.
Okay. Well,
that's true.
Yeah.
Before they all got gentrified.
Well, same thing with them, right? Once they ran out, it was a wrap.
Yeah.
They just put
done.
a sign up. I ain't got no candy no more. That's it. We out. Well, happy Halloween, everybody. Hope everybody enjoys it. Before we get into week 9 and picking these games, Levon had a pretty good idea for us to do to test our knowledge of our team, of our respective teams. And so Vaughn, I'll let you explain what the game is, and then we'll go into
the rationale behind it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just thought it would be. No. We all have our favorite teams, and as growing up, we used to go at each other when our teams either played or even when they weren't playing each other. Whose team was better? Who's had the best players? And I just thought it would be a cool exercise to start from 2000 and go all the way to 2025 present and just name the best players at each position on our respective favorite teams. Also gives us a chance to flex our football knowledge as it pertains to the teams that we proclaim to root for. So it would be a fun exercise to warm us up before we start making these picks. So that was the rationale behind it.
Cool. You want to start us off?
I'll start us off. Since I had my list, it was my idea. I'll start us off. So, for those who don't know, my favorite team is the New York Giants. My fandom started since I was a young kid. My dad, that's my father's team. His team he rooted for. It's the team he turned on the TV the most and cheered for. Growing up in New York City, there were 2 teams for New York, and I gravitated toward the Giants. I do not root for the Jets. That is not what we do in New York. You never root for both teams. You pick one or the other. So from the year 2000 to present day 2025, I think the best quarterback for our team, this is pretty obvious, Eli Manning. Not going to get too much into that rationale. 2 running backs. Tiki Barber is 1. Tiki Barber is arguably a Hall of Famer. He's got great stats. Number 21 for my team for many years. And Saquon Barkley, even though he's with Philadelphia, he's, in my opinion, since 2000, second best running back we ever had. 3 receivers. First receiver is Amani Tuma. He holds the all-time record for receptions for my team. Second is Odell Beckham Jr. Everybody should know who that is. The catch on Sunday Night Football, that great catch that people still see highlights of. And Victor Cruz is who I picked. Victor Cruz helped us win the Super Bowl. He had a short career, but one of the best slot receivers we ever had. Tight end was kind of hard. We didn't really have a tight end of note during that time period, but one was Jeremy Shockey, who in his short time with the team made a great impact on Giant fans for his fiery nature, his ability to make contested catches, and they would flank him out a lot, and he would go up against linebackers and some DBs and still be able to get open and make catches. And then Kevin Boss, who many people won't know who that is, but we won the Super Bowl with Kevin Boss when we beat the Patriots in 2007. He had that big catch in the second half when he caught it from Eli that got the ball rolling and got us down there so we could score that touchdown and take that lead. If I'm not mistaken, it was 10-7 at the time. Offensive lineman all time, Andrew Thomas, left tackle. He's the current tackle for the Giants right now. Andrew Thomas is extremely good. Chris Snee, guard, is retired, but he was also a part of that 2007 team. Is one of the best offensive linemen we ever had. Defensive line, this is easy. Pick 2 defensive linemen. One, Michael Strahan, Hall of Famer. Single season sack record is still under his name. And the other one is Justin Tuck. Won 2 Super Bowls for my team in between 2000 and 2025. Number 91. Could play defensive end on the edge and could rush from the inside. Best linebacker, this is what I struggle with the most. Antonio Pierce was a free agent acquisition, also helped us to win that Super Bowl that year. Best middle linebacker, best linebacker period that we have had. Our defensive backs, I picked two. I picked Corey Webster, who was also on that team. Best outside corner we had during that time frame. And Antro Roll, who we picked up as a free agent from the Cardinals and was a team captain and an instrumental piece for us. Kicker Lawrence Tynes, he kicked us to 2 Super Bowls, had I think at least 3 games, well at least 2 that I can think of, against San Francisco and against Green Bay when we went to the Super Bowl in 2 different years, as a matter of fact. And punter Jeff Eagles, and head coach would be Tom Coughlin. And that is the quarter century Giants all-time team, according to LaVon Sanders.
Okay. I mean, I hate the fact that like everything that you did, you pretty much shit on us, the 3 of us, because at the very least, your players have all contributed to Super Bowl championships of your respective team, and I think this is why he did this.
I don't know, it's not.
This is the reason why he did this.
No.
Because you get to say when you talk about the accolades and when you talk about the reason why you selected the players, I kept hearing you say on multiple occasions, he helped us win 2 Super Bowls. He helped us win a Super Bowl. Oh yeah, he helped us win a Super Bowl too.
Would know who I was talking about. Without me saying that.
So when I go to my list of players, I'm be like, yeah, he made 1 Pro Bowl. He was a pretty good. He was the best number 84 we ever had.
That is not why I did that, man. Although no one is gonna know who Kevin Boss is outside of a select few people. But I get what you're saying. But that is
true. That is true. That is
not why.
I remember who Kevin Boss is, but that's just because I follow pretty much every team in the league.
Most people will know bosses.
Ace, you got yours? You want to go or you want me to go?
Muted.
You're muted. I didn't hear you.
Still muted.
You're still muted. I mean, we've been doing this for only 4 years.
Can you hear me now?
You know.
Yeah,
I can hear you. Okay.
You got it.
All right, I'll go. All right. So for me, I mean, if you guys have been listening to us this entire time, you know I'm a big fan of Detroit Lions. Although I'm a native New Yorker, and I probably should have been rooting for one of the New York teams. There's a whole story around it. I won't go into any detail here, but big fan of Detroit Lions, and that's where I go. No, that has nothing to do with it. No, Patrick Ewing has nothing to do with that. Patrick Ewing. There's some dark days for me and my Knicks fandom. That has to do with Patrick Ewing. If we ever have a chance to talk about that, I need therapy. If we ever have a chance to talk about that, I will. But whatever. So it's Detroit Lions 2000 to 2025. I also believe that LaVon did this on purpose because Barry Sanders retired in 1999, so I could not use him anywhere in my list. So again, thank you, LaVon. So quarterback for my team, obviously going to be Matt Stafford. 12 years on the team, still the leader in just about every passing statistical category for the Lions in their history. Running backs, the only quote I did for the running back is you had to play for the team for more than 2 years. For just about any player on here, you had to play for the team for more than 2 years. You couldn't be a 1-year rental. So although there are some greats like Adrian Peterson was a running back for the Lions at one point later in his career, I wouldn't put him in the list, obviously.
That's crazy.
But so my running backs are currently is Jahmyr Gibbs. What he's done just up until this point has been incredible. And I'm gonna go Reggie Bush. The Lions went about, if you guys don't know, the Lions went a good 9, almost 10 years before they had a 1,000-yard rusher after Barry Sanders left. And the first 1,000-yard rusher on the Lions was Reggie Bush in, if I'm not mistaken, that was 2014. Nice. 2013. So it was from 1999 to 2013. So that's like 14 years. We didn't have a 1,000-yard rusher before him. Wide receiver, Megatron, Calvin Johnson, Amon-Ra St. Brown of the current regime. And my last one was Roy Williams. Roy Williams, had a nice run as the number one receiver for Matt Stafford, and for the team for a long time he was before Matt. He was before Stafford, but he had a nice run as number one receiver for the quarterbacks that were there, and then until Megatron came on board. Tight ends, this was another difficult one. I went Sam Laporta. I could have gone with T.J. Hawkinson because he did make a Pro Bowl as a tight end on the team, but he really wasn't here long enough. So I went with bum-ass Brandon Pettigrew. He was here for 5 years. He was a good blocker. He couldn't catch anything, but he was a damn good blocker. And every once in a while, he would come through with a touchdown catch in the best possible situations for us. So I went Brandon Pettigrew and Sam Laporta. Offensive line, Penei Sewell and Frank Ragnow. Defensive line, obviously you got to go with Hutch, and then the big Sue and Ndamukong Suh. Although I can't stand how he left us, I got to give him credit for while he was there and the amount of the craziness that he was able to bring. Linebacker was probably the most difficult because we've had a really big revolving door at the linebacker position. But my favorite linebacker, and probably the first guy that I remember being a captain as a linebacker, was Stephen Tulloch. If you guys don't remember him,
yeah, y'all took him from Tennessee.
Yeah, and his probably biggest claim to fame was he tore his ACL celebrating a sack, which that's the Lions for you. Defensive backs, Kirby Joseph, who was an All-Pro at the safety position, and Darius Slay, who won a Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles, or two Super Bowls with the Philadelphia Eagles, after we traded him because he didn't get along with Matt Patricia. Fuck you, Matt Patricia. But when he was a Lion, he was a 4-time Pro Bowler and 1-time All-Pro. So, best cornerback we'd have had in those 25 years. And he won 2 Super Bowls with another team. Great. Kicker, Jason Hanson. Jason Hanson is like 70 years old. He was playing when Barry was there, and he didn't retire until 2012. He was a Lion his entire 21-year career. Punter, Jack Fox. And of course, Dan the Man, the head coach, Dan the Man, Dan Campbell. Shout out to Jim Caldwell. Just a honorable mention to him. But Dan Campbell, you've brought this organization and this franchise to spots, to places that I never believed that we would get to in my lifetime. And thank you, Levon, for making me look all of this up, because I've got to remember a lot of dark days as a fan of the Detroit Lions over the years. Some really dark times there, but
good memories.
This was fun though.
Good memories.
This was fun though. This was fun. Ace, over to you.
All right. I'm going to start with my head coach, Lovie Smith, the only head coach to get the Bears to the Super Bowl in this century, the past 25 years. They fired him after going 9-7, and the GM because, they needed to clean house. That team president has finally retired, which is why we're finally good again. So you know who you are. He was a bean counter. He was an accountant. He married into the family. I think that's why he got the job. For the quarterback, I had to go with Rex Grossman. He's the only quarterback that actually got us to the Super Bowl. And even though he was pretty, mid to average, he still got us there. And he was the quarterback of that infamous game where they scored no offensive touchdowns, but they still won against the Arizona Cardinals and made Dennis Green meltdown, which I still love that rant to this day. Matt Forte, out of Tulane. He is I think he's number 2 in Bears all-time rushing, right behind, he's past Gale Sayers, and he's right behind Walter Payton. So that says a lot in terms of the franchise history. After him, I put Thomas Jones as the second running back. Eventually, the Jets stole him, but we rescued him from the Arizona Cardinals, who are one of the worst franchises in the NFL. You're going to hear me crap on them a lot because we took a lot of players from them who were actually good and made them better. Brandon Marshall made one of the best catches I've ever seen someone make. He is 6'5", and he is a tremendous football player. Has the record for catches in a season by a Bears wide receiver, I want to say like 102. And then we have Marty Booker, who in the early 2000s was the best wide receiver we had. And then third, I put Devin Hester, who eventually switched to cornerback, but he started out as a wide receiver, and that's when he had 6 returns in the season his rookie year, and scored a touchdown to open up the Super Bowl. And for offensive line, I'm going to go with Olin Kreutz and Kyle Long, the only 2 offensive linemen I can think of that made first team All-Pro. Olin Kreutz did it, I want to say 3 times. He should be in the Hall of Fame, but he's a center and kind of an angry guy, but he bought that action. So he tried to fight one of his coworkers at a Chicago radio station, which may have tarnished his career after the fact in Chicago, but it kind of is what it is. Kyle Long on the podcast with his brother, the Greenlight Podcast. Nice guy. Tommy Harris, defensive lineman, made the Pro Bowl the first 4 years of his career until he tore his hamstring. Was never the same after that. Left the league after 8 seasons. But he made 4 straight Pro Bowls as a rookie until we finally gave him a big contract and then he got hurt. And then Khalil Mack is the other defensive lineman who had 12 sacks in his first year and a bunch of forced fumbles. For the linebacker, obviously, Urlacher. You know who it is. He's in the Hall of Fame. Cornerback, or I guess safety, Mike Brown. He was the best safety we had out of Nebraska. Once he got hurt, the Bears defense kind of fell apart after 2006, and that's the main reason why they never went back. And then Charles Peanut Tillman, who invented the peanut punch, who's everybody's copying now. Basically just punching dudes in the face and in the stomach because they're not as good at it. But, he's that dude. And then Robbie Gould, who's a kicker, stayed with the Bears, and then we cut him because we didn't want to pay him $2 million a year. He goes to San Francisco, goes to the Super Bowl, loses twice 2 Super Bowls with San Francisco, and now he is retired after like 17 seasons. He could probably still kick. And then Torrey Taylor, our current punter, who's the best punter we've ever had, got him out of Iowa. Punting is winning, and he is really good at punting. And then for tight ends, there's a lot of trash tight ends, and the ones we have right now are pretty good, but I'd have to go with Martellus Bennett. He's the best tight end we've ever had. He had 90 catches in the season. Although Jimmy Graham has the most touchdowns in the season for a Chicago Bear, and he did it at 38 years old or 37 years old. He did play 2 years with us, but Martellus Bennett, I think, was better overall, and he was in the prime. And he retired early because he got tired of the BS. But he did end up going to the Pats and getting the Super Bowl, so that was kind of cool. And that's it for me. Ant, whenever you're ready.
Looks like Ant dropped, so looks like he didn't feel like talking about his Jets.
Yeah, Lance Briggs was really good too, but yeah, Urlacher was definitely. But
yeah,
if I can only pick one linebacker, I gotta go with the guy in the Hall of Fame. Although personally, I think Briggs should be in there too because Briggs had a lot of 10 season sacks. He was really good, and he had a lot of interception TDs for touchdowns, especially against the Cowboys, which I was always a fan of.
I forgot about Marty Booker. I used to love Marty Booker in Madden. What was he, like 6'7"?
No, he was like 6'1", but he was fast as shit, and he could.
Yeah,
he was like a
Marty Booker. Yeah,
he was like a poor man's Tyreek Hill, I guess if you could describe him. He was like Devontae
Marty
Smith.
Booker. I remember Marty Booker.
Yeah, he was a real good wide receiver. He just played with a lot of trash QBs, especially early in the 2000s, catching passes from like I can't even remember right now, but not a lot of quality on that team.
Wow, Jay Cutler. You didn't put. I forgot about. Bears had a lot of singularly good players over the years. Jay Cutler.
Cutler got us to the NFC
who did you put as your quarterback?
He didn't win. Rex Grossman, because he got us to the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
all right. It's funny because when you were talking about Devin Hester as a receiver, I remember I was like, damn it, I swore he was a corner. But I realized it's like, no, the dude caught, and I just had to look up his statistics. He was listed as a wide receiver for all 3 years that he played in Miami. You know how many passes he caught as a wide receiver?
Like 12, but 3 of them were for TDs.
Yeah, he caught 10 passes total.
Anthony's trying
as a wide receiver in 3 seasons for the. He had more returns.
But how many of those catches went for touchdowns?
He had 10 catches for 196. He has no receiving touchdowns.
Oh, okay.
In his career.
Well, in college. Not in pros,
I don't see him in college. Yeah.
He just posted.
I don't see him rejoining yet.
He's trying to get back in. He posted it. He said, "Let him in." So I guess because that's kind of how I was when I get kicked out. It would be saying waiting to be let back in. There you go.
There it is. Okay, I see it. Yes, I thought that was fascinating that that he was listed as a wide receiver, caught all of 10 passes, was still a second-round draft pick. I think that's probably he probably has he's probably like it's got to be a record. The least amount of actual college production at your position and still being as high as draft pick as he was, because he was so incredible as a return guy.
He ran 4.3 at the combine, and Bears were like, we're taking.
Yeah, and he had 4 picks. So he wasn't full on Travis Hunter, but he was Travis Hunter before Travis Hunter, because he had 4 picks yeah.
Okay.
An interception.
Travis Hunter intercepted like 6 passes last year, returned one for a touchdown, and he caught 12 touchdowns.
No, I mean, I was asking, does he have any now for Jackson?
I don't think so. I don't think he has any yet.
He has 1 receiving touchdown.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, he hasn't been great yet. And you're up. New York Jets, 2000 to 2025. What's your team?
All right, but for that, I have quarterbacks of Chad Pennington, Vinny Testaverde, and I would have put Sanchez up there until what happened a couple of weeks ago.
We said one. LeBron said one quarterback, so you can't.
I like that. No. Let's clear out. I want to hear this.
Let him rock. Let him rock. Go ahead.
I got Curtis Warner, and I would have had Damian Thomason as well, but just like you said earlier, Malik, quite a running back. I've only been there for 1 year, but he's still he's great. Quite reclaimed him over the Chargers. I put Sean Green in there, and I put Lamar Jordan, and I put what's the name? The great Joe McKnight. Unfortunately, rest in peace for him. And Brees Hall is this year's coming up running back. As far as for fullback, I got Tony Richardson. As far as for wide receiver, I got Wayne Corbett, Keyshawn Johnson, Santonio Holmes, well, of course, Lavernius Coles, and Garrett Wilson as well there as well. What?
We only needed 3 wide receivers, not 5.
Wayne Corbett, when did they stop playing?
Wayne Corbett was in the early 2000s. Wayne Corbett played in 2000s.
Wayne Corbett retired in 07, I want to say.
Yeah, Keyshawn was drafted like 99 or something like that. 98.
No, 95.
Yeah, but they still played, though.
95.
They still played.
Shit. I had no idea.
They still played in the 2000s.
Okay.
As far as for tight end, I got Dustin Keller and Anthony Beck. As far as defensive linemen, I got Quinn Williams and Leonard Williams, that's now in Seattle. I wish they was both together. Also, Corey, you can include Jonathan Abraham as well. As far as for linebackers, I got Jonathan Vilma. He used to be on the Jets, where he got his championships with the Saints. Bart Scott. Also, James Farrier. They used to be on the Jets as well. People don't really know that. And also Mo Lewis. Also got Darrell Reeves as my cornerbacks. Antonio Cromartie, of course, you can put those guys to the side. And also, current head coach Aaron Glenn. Yes, he was playing in 2001. I skipped this on purpose, but my offensive linemen, I have DeBricker Shaw Ferguson, J.C. Pavini, and rest in peace, Nick Mango, who died on Sunday, unfortunately. My kicker, I have Nick Folk, Tom Tupper, and as far as for head coach,
we lost Ant.
I think the Jets drafted him.
He was on Pittsburgh.
He was on Pittsburgh.
He was on Pittsburgh because, if I'm not mistaken, the Lions had him for a season.
Didn't the Jets draft Farrier, though? Just trying to go so far back. That's crazy. But Wayne Corbett, I remember Wayne Corbett. He was the first Wes Welker.
Keyshawn Johnson never played for the Jets in the 2000s. They traded him in '99.
Farrier was on the Steelers for like a lot of years.
Yeah,
and then he went to the Jets.
He won the Super Bowl.
He was drafted by the Jets.
Yeah, I figured that.
The Jets drafted him. He was on the Jets for looks like 5 years, and then he went to Pitt, and he finished his career in Pitt.
I remember the Jets drafted Farrier. I remember the year they drafted Reeves. Same year we drafted, who was that? It was Aaron Ross. And they drafted Reeves like maybe 2-3 picks before we got Ross. It was like,
and of course I got kicked off, and I don't even know where I left off at. Because I actually
it was right after Nick Mangold.
Aaron Glenn. No, Nick Mangold. You was talking about Nick Mangold, I think, last. Or Aaron Glenn, one of those two.
Okay, so yes, Aaron Glenn, who's the current head coach of the Jets, he was actually back in 2001. And of course, I did say Nick Mango, rest in peace. He died this Sunday. Dick Brickashaw Ferguson and Jason Fabini, as far as the head coach. On this day, October 30th, 2002, my head coach, Herman Edwards, said the famous "You can't play to win the game" speech. So I'm picking him.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Hopefully I
Okay.
don't get kicked off again.
And
Not Rex
Herm.
Ryan?
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if you was going with Rex, but I wasn't sure if you was gonna go with Rex. But Herm,
No,
I like Herm better.
Herm was my heart right there. I love Rex, but I call it Herm was my number one. Let's see, I gotta find it.
Okay.
All right. I enjoyed that, fellas. Trip down memory
You didn't
lane.
name a
I
kicker or a
liked it.
punter though.
I
You
did
didn't?
it before. I didn't name them when I got kicked off. Let me go back to that list. My kicker is the current kicker, who was a kicker back in 2000 as well. This guy's a legend and ancient
Was it
ancient
Folk?
motherfucker, Nick Folk.
Polk? Nick
Nick
Folk.
Folk.
Yeah.
Is he
He's
45
automatic.
years old?
He might be a million years old for all I know, because this guy's been playing forever.
He's still kicking. He still kicked like a
And
58-yarder a couple of weeks ago, couple of games ago.
yes, and I don't know how this guy is still doing it, but big ups to him. And my punter, I'm going to go with Tom Tooper, the old Tom Tooper, who's retired.
Oh, wow. Tom Tupa. Wow. We've been watching football a long time, fellas.
Absolutely.
We've been
Too
watching
long.
this game
We're
a
about
long
to watch
time.
some more. And we're about to watch some more.
Wow.
Week 9, we're getting ready to jump into these week 9 picks as the Ravens are finishing off this game against the Dolphins, winning 28-6.
Go
2-minute
Birds.
warning.
Did
All right.
Zach
So
Wilson came
before we
on? Because
get
I had to turn it
into
off on my end.
Zach Wilson, no, I don't think so. I have not seen
Damn
him
it.
yet.
I guess
But
they're saving him for the Jets, I guess.
Derrick Henry, but yeah, the Ravens have sat their starters. I don't see a reason why Miami would be sitting theirs because they need all the reps they can get. So looking back at last week's stats before we get into the picks for this week. Last week was another struggle. After a good week 7 for all of us, week 8 was a bit of a struggle. We picked 12 games. I'll just kick off the game picks. So LaVon finished 4-8, but 3-2 on his locks. Ant and I picked. Well, we picked the exact. I didn't even notice this. We both finished 7-5, and we both picked the exact same teams for every single game last week. It was absolutely hilarious. I didn't realize that until I looked at the statistics. But we both finished 7-5, and we both finished 3-2 on our locks, but our locks were different. And then finally, Ace finished 2-10. 2-10. But one of those two was a lock. One of those two was his lock. So he did finish 1-4 on his locks. So he finished 2-10. One of those two was his lock.
Rough week.
So on the season, Ace is 49-64, 43%. Ant is 63-50. He's at 55%. I am at 56-57, just under 50%. And LaVon is at 54-59 at just under 48%. For our game locks, Ace is still, even though you had a bad week, Ace is still coming in on top there, 22-18, 55%. Ant is 19-21, 47%. I'm also 19-21 at 47%. And LaVon is a even 20-20. So locks have been good, even though our game picks have not necessarily panned out yet. Well, let's see what we got for week 9. All right. First up, we have Ace's Chicago Bears going to Cincinnati to play against the Bengals. The Bears are coming off of a loss against the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore, while the Bengals are coming off of a loss as well. Their last game was against the Jets. That was that 39-38 victory that the Jets had with their first win of the season. The Bears are favored by 3 on the road, and the over-under in this game is 51.5. It's the young pup Caleb Williams versus the old bull Joe Flacco. Ace, these are your boys. You didn't put Caleb Williams on your top quarterback of the 2000s. What are you thinking for the game?
He's only in his second year, but we're going to win this game. They have no defense. They have benched their starting captain on defense, who has requested a trade, Logan Wilson, the linebacker. So I am going with the Bears on this one. I don't think they can stop us from scoring, and I'm confident we can slow them down. They won't be able to run the ball on us, and we're going to be able to at least take away either Higgins or Chase. But most of our corners are hurt, so I hope we get Kyler Gordon or somebody back, because Eddie Jackson can't stop everything over the top. But our pass rush is actually getting better, and their offensive line is pretty bad, as shown by the Jets getting a lot of pressure on them last week in the fourth quarter.
All right, LaVon, over to you.
Extremely disappointed that the Bears let me down last week, and I have more confidence in their defense. But when they let Snoop Hundley act like Lamar Jackson in Baltimore and mop the floor with them last week, I'm a little worried as to what Joe Flacco might do to them with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase in Cincinnati. Both teams coming off a loss, so both should be hungry, and both, their hopes are still alive, so nobody's got one foot in the grave here. So I'm going to go with the Bears again. After they burned me last week, I'm going to go with the Bears again in this game.
All right. The Bengals are at home. I'm going to take the Bengals to cover. I want the 3 points. I just want the 3 points on the number there. The Bears haven't shown any reason to believe that they should blow anybody out, or they should be. This game should be relatively close. It should play within the number. I think the Jets defense the Jets defense was better, has been better than advertised, and the Bengals were able to score all over them. I don't think scoring will be a problem for this Bengals team. Defending will clearly be an issue, but there's a possibility that Caleb Williams throws them one. They're able to get a fumble recovery or something along those lines, and keep the game relatively close. And the only way the Bengals win is by scoring a ton of points. So they're still healthy-ish. Joe Flacco is dealing with a shoulder issue, but looks like he's going to play. And you mentioned Ace, Logan Wilson requesting a trade for the Bengals. DJ Moore has also been a subject of trade talks for this week, with the potential for him being moved. But so we'll see what happens there. But I'll take the Bengals, no lock, and I'll take the over on that 51.5, because I think that the score gets high for both of these teams. Ant is off right now, but we'll get his pick in a minute once he gets back on. For now, we're going to jump over to the next game. Lions-Vikings. There's a 1:00 start. Vikings in Detroit taking on the Lions. The Lions are giving 8.5 points as the home favorite here. And the over-under on this game is 48.5. Detroit is coming in off of their bye week after having beaten Tampa Bay in Week 7 on Monday Night Football. And Minnesota is coming in off of a loss against the Chargers last week in blowout fashion. They lost 37-10 against the Chargers in a really, really lopsided game there. I will go first here. I will take the Lions, and I will give the 8.5 points here. No lock, but I do think that the Lions, I want to see what they look like coming out of the bye. One thing I will say, a lot healthier. Obviously, a lot healthier coming off of the bye week. A lot of guys that were out, had been out previously, are coming back. Still down a couple of our corners, but it's still down. Terrion Arnold doesn't look like he's going to play, and DJ Reed might play, even though he is practicing again, so he might play. And then we have Kirby Joseph, Avonte Maddox, Sione Vaki, and Craig Reynolds. Just to name a few guys that are potentially able to come back But
Whoa. Yeah.
but we'll see. So I'll take the Lions. I will take the over. Again, no lock for me here, but I look forward to them. Ant, I know you just rejoined us, so if you can give your pick for Bears Bengals, you can go ahead and do it if you can hear us. If not, we'll shift over. Yeah, you're muted, by the way.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Bears in the over on this one. I think they're a better team as far as for everything is constructed. Yes, everybody's always looking at Cincinnati Bengals as a good high power team, but as far as for their defense, as we saw last week, what happened there, I think the Bears can actually pull that off. So I'm gonna go with the Bears.
Okay, Bears and the under. You said the under or over?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the over on this one. If they can get up to 60 points with the Jets, come on now.
Okay, but no lock. Are you locking that in?
No, I'm not locking it in.
Okay.
What is happening?
Ace, over to you. Lions and Vikings.
I am taking the Lions. I think the Vikings don't really have a chance. Their two important offensive linemen, Darashaw and O'Neal, are still questionable. I believe that they're going to play. J.J. McCarthy has played one game and then he got hurt with a high ankle sprain. He had to sit. And the backup I've never heard of. So if y'all can get pressure, which I assume you will, it'll be a long, long, long day for the Vikings. Give me the Lions and I'll take the over.
All right, LeVon.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I'm here, man.
Disconnect. Said you're reconnecting. Are you having connection issues? Okay, cool.
Can you hear me? Can y'all hear me?
Coming in and out.
Oh wait, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
I can hear you now. Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, cool. Malik, once again, his fandom is getting the better of him. He did mention the fact that Carson Wentz, who's trash, is not playing in this game. If I'm not mistaken, they put him on IR. So
He's out for the season.
The rookie is going to be playing on the road.
J.J. McCarthy.
In
That's
Detroit
right.
Against this team. I will give those points. I'd give even more points if there was some more points to give. I think the Lions roll in this game. JJ looked okay for one half of football. I can't remember who that was against, but outside of that, he's looked very much like a rookie quarterback. Detroit is arguably one of the best teams in the league, if not the best team in that division. And they're at home, and they've had 2 weeks to prepare. So I'll take the Lions, and this is my first lock of the week.
Okay, I did take the Lions, by the way. I just didn't lock it in. I like I said, I'm
which is
until I see
is crazy
what we can do.
Because it's like what with okay.
I got 5 other locks.
I know.
I got other locks I can go with. And over here.
I'm going to go with the Lions on this one because the Vikings, they basically playing a rookie that has not played any games, is always injured. They don't and they're going to just feast on them. They basically at home and stuff like that. They're going to have the Eminem music playing in the beginning, and it's going to be on. They're going to beat the snot out of them. So I'm going to go with the Lions, and we'll take the over.
All right. Panthers at the Packers. The Packers are laying 13.5 points hosting the Carolina Panthers, who actually, if I'm not mistaken, they still have a winning record, or they might be 4-4. I don't know if they're at 500 or okay. So they're a 500 football team, and they're getting 13.5 points on the road against Green Bay. I just think that's a bit much. I personally think that's a bit much. But obviously the Green Bay has won 3 straight, and the momentum is definitely on their side now, coming off of a big victory on Sunday Night Football against Aaron Rodgers in his quote unquote revenge game in Pittsburgh, where they won 35-25. Meanwhile, the Panthers are coming off of a brutal beating at home against the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo covered that spread. They were 7.5-point favorites in that game. They won that game 40-9, covered that spread. And Green Bay covered their spread. They were 2.5-point favorites in Pittsburgh and covered their spread. The spread on this game again is 13.5. The over/under is 44.5. Levon, I'm gonna start with you.
This game's in Green Bay or Carolina?
This game is in Green Bay.
Yeah. The Packers will roll in this game. I don't know if Bryce is going to play. He didn't play last week. It was the Red Rifle. Is he healed up from that high ankle sprain? We always record before we know because injury reports usually come out on Friday.
Yeah, he's still listed on the. I don't know that he's practicing as of yet, but he's still listed on the injury report. But and Dalton is actually, just to note, Dalton is also listed on the injury report with an ankle injury.
I'm going to assume that the high ankle is going to keep Bryce Young out. They travel to Green Bay. I'll give all of those points. I like the Packers in this game. Michael Hunt, the Packers, to me, still one of the best well-rounded offenses when they get it going in the league. Proved it last week a little bit. And I think the Panthers are a home team. If they're not at home, they're susceptible to whatever because they're a young team. So I'm picking the Packers, and I'm locking them in.
All right. I will also take the Packers, and I will not lock this in because I just don't like the number. But I definitely agree with Levon, and I would not be surprised if they won this game by 15 or more points at home against the Panthers, who will likely be starting. Who might be starting Bryce Young, maybe starting Andy Dalton, but it doesn't really seem to matter one way or the other in this situation. The Packers, when they get a lead, one thing that we did see that was pretty evident was two things that I wanted to say were pretty evident in that game against Pittsburgh is, one, Jordan Love's not making the critical mistakes that have plagued him over the course of his career. That had plagued him early on in his career, at least. He's not making those critical mistakes anymore. He's not putting the team in those bad spots. And when he's not doing that, the rest of the offense, the rest of the team can get cooking. And then the other thing that's pretty clear with respect to this team is when they do get a lead and they're able to unleash the insanity that is Micah Parsons, that just puts them on a completely different level. And that is absolutely, he's incredible when he can just pin his ears back and get after the quarterback. And that's exactly what they paid for. So all that said, I'll give the Packers here as well. Again, no lock, 13.5 points, just a little bit too much, but I'll take the Packers. I'll take the home side here, and I'll lay those points. It's going to be a long day in Carolina. Ace, over to you. You're muted. Ace.
I'm taking Carolina. They're getting 13.5 points, and Bryce Young practiced on full today, and he practiced on Wednesday. So that's why I'm leaning towards them. With him as a quarterback, they're a much more effective team, and I think the coach will finally realize, give the damn ball to Rico.
Well, that definitely did. I did read about that recently, that there's going to be an opportunity for Rico to get more carries because of the production that he showed while Chuba Hubbard was out. So although Chuba Hubbard will still likely factor in, it's going to be more of a 50-50 split there. Looks like Ant's still having connection issues, so when he gets back, we'll get the pick from him. But we'll move on to the next game. Broncos at the Texans. The Broncos are they're getting points here. The Texans are 1.5 point favorites at home, and the over-under in this game is 39.5. So the Broncos, just to quickly tell, they're coming off of a huge win on Sunday afternoon at home against the Dallas Cowboys. They were thought to be just a defensive team, but they showed against the Dallas Cowboys that they can score just like anybody else can score against that Cowboys defense. They dropped 44. They only gave up 24 to a very, very high-powered Cowboys offense that was sporting all of their players. and they covered a 3.5-point spread in that game. Meanwhile, on the other side, Houston won in very convincing fashion at home against the San Francisco 49ers, the massively injured 49ers, but still the very good 49ers team walked into Houston and left with a loss. We now, again, the over under here is 39 and a half, 1.5 point spread here. Ace, start over with you again. What are you picking?
I'm going with Houston. These are the top 2 defenses by yards in the league, and Houston is at home. And I have more faith in C.J. Stroud as a quarterback than I do in Bo Nix. And in terms of coaching, they got their offense rolling last week against a bad team, but Houston has been beating up on some really good teams overall in general. And they're playing themselves back into the playoffs. So if they're going to make it to the playoffs, this is a game that they're going to need to win. And I got more faith in them at home than I do in the Broncos on the road. So Texans and the under.
All right. Levon.
Yeah, I agree with everything Ace said. Houston's got a definite playoff caliber defense. They do. They've been playing playoff caliber defense for the last 3 weeks. But Denver the same. And Denver proved me wrong. Last week, I thought Dallas would come in there and get whatever they wanted against that defense. And they absolutely didn't. And that Cowboy defense is terrible. And the Texans also. I thought that the 49ers, they have a good run game, well coached. I thought that would travel well and they would perform out in Houston, but they didn't. So this week, I'm going to believe more in the Texans defense and the fact that they're at home versus a Denver team who also has a very good defense, but it is shown to have some holes in it. If a team, I guess, can also play complementary football, which I think Houston should be able to do if they can keep the momentum they built up from that win last week. So I like Houston in this game, but I am not locking it in.
So it's interesting that in just looking at this game, and thanks, Ant, welcome back. Ant, you're going to make 2 picks when you go. Looking at this game, looking at what the Broncos did, the last 5 quarters of football, so the 4 quarters of last week's game and the last quarter of their game before that, the offense has been really good. But it's been up and down pretty much all season. And so that leads me to believe that this offense is still trying to figure out what they are or who they are at this point. And the defense has been really helping them to maintain and get victories and get them to this point. They're coming off of 5 wins in a row. They've won 5 straight. And 2 of those games were on the road, 1 in Philadelphia. So home or road, they seem to be able to travel well with that defense. And while that offense is starting to figure itself out, I still think that they have enough explosiveness on that outside in order to make a couple of plays. This number is 1.5, so it really is a pick 'em either way. I'm going to take the Broncos side of things just because they're getting points. I think that they could potentially, that obviously they can win the game outright, but even if they lose, I think I like to get a point here, and especially that hook. Even if they lose, they can probably cover this number. So I'll take the Broncos to cover, not necessarily to win the game outright, and I will take the under because, like both of you guys said, these defenses are pretty damn good. And we're coming to you. 2 games to pick here. First, you're going to pick the Packers and the Panthers. Packers giving 13.5 points and the over under 44.5. And then finally, you're going to pick the Texans and the Broncos. Texans minus 1.5. Their 39.5 is the over under. So go ahead and make your picks.
First game, I'm going to pick the Packers and the under. There's no way I'm going to pick the other team. The Packers definitely passed the main test. Well, Jordan Love passed the main test by quite surpassing the teacher. So I'm going to go with him on this one. I think he's going to carry it through. As far as for the second game, I'm going to pick Denver and the over in this one. I think Houston is trying to come back. They might be picking it up a little down the road. But right now, I think Denver is in the driver's seat as far as for this game is concerned. So Denver and the over for the second game. Oh, that's going to be my first lock, the Denver game.
All right. All right. On to the next game. We have the Falcons at the New England Patriots, Atlanta Falcons. This game is a very interesting one for multiple reasons. Last week, Michael Penix was hurt for the Falcons, did not play. They wound up having to start Kirk Cousins, and they got beat soundly by the Miami Dolphins, who had no business beating anybody because they just got smoked today, and we saw how not good they are today in that game at home against the Ravens. Meanwhile, New England continues to win. They have now won 5 in a row. They won in very, very convincing fashion in Cleveland. At home against the Cleveland Browns, 32-13, and are looking like a playoff team going into the second half of the season. Atlanta is getting 5.5 points here on the road in New England. And we're still not sure about the health of Michael Penix, whether or not he's going to be playing in this game. And the over-under is 45 as the total on this one. And I'm going to start with you here, since you're the AFC East guy. Patriots hosting the Falcons, giving 5.5 points. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go with the Patriots on this one. I don't trust the Falcons anymore. Patriots are at home. They actually built up a good team. And just in one offseason with their coach and also with their offensive coordinator, they basically running everything back without Brady and Belichick, and they seem to be looking like a second coming of it. And of course, the media is they're the media up and coming media darlings again. But as far as for this game is concerned, this is going to be quite a good test for the Patriots. Falcons will go back and forth. We don't know who's going to start as far as the quarterback is concerned. But yeah, I'm definitely going to take the Patriots and going to take the under in this one.
All right. I, too, am taking the Patriots, and I'm taking the over in this game. And this will be my first lock of the week. I really like what Coach Vrabel is doing with the Patriots team. No matter who they put there in the backfield, has been able to be productive. Drake May is playing some of the best football of his career, and will likely get. He probably won't win it, but he'll likely get some votes if he stays with the way he's playing. He'll get a vote or two for MVP. If he's able to continue playing like the way he's playing, he'll get some votes there. So I like the defense. I've mentioned this on previous occasions. I like how the defense is played. I like their secondary. I think their secondary is definitely hitting on all cylinders. I like their front. The offensive line is blocking well. Atlanta they're up and down. When you think that they're down, they come back and they have a great game and they win outright, and they look great doing it. And then the following week, you start to put your faith in them, and they fall on their face. This time around, I think that they are the outclassed team in this situation. They're on the road, dome team going on the road. I don't know what the weather is likely to be. It's probably going to be pretty nice, but even if it is not, great weather, a dome team going on the road has never been going outside has never been a benefit in that fashion. So I'll take the Patriots. I'll lay those 5.5 points, and this is my first lock of the week. Ace, over to you.
I'm taking the Pats too. Pats are gonna crush them. They're playing outside. The weather Sunday is gonna suck. It's gonna be 52 degrees is the high. The low is 35. They're playing on Sunday. I live near the stadium. They're going to beat the brakes off of them. They're not going to be ready to play outside. Drake London was hurt also last week, and without him, they don't have a deep threat. So lock in the Pats, and I would take the under because I don't think Atlanta's going to score enough, and all they got to do is focus on Bijan. So give me the Pats.
All right.
First lock of the week.
Levon's pick. What? Yep, I got you. We'll take Levon's pick once he's able to reconnect. All right, next up, 49ers at the Giants. Man, I wanted Levon to be here for this pick. The 49ers are favored.
Before he left.
49ers are favored in this game by 2.5 points, and the over-under is 48. The Giants are coming off of a disappointing loss in Philadelphia in the Eagles' revenge game from a couple of weeks ago when they lost in the Meadowlands. They lost that game 38-20, and they were not able to cover a 7.5 point spread. Jackson Dart struggled, the offense struggled, and unfortunately, Cam Scatterable, the rookie running back that was, lighting the world up and one of the darlings of the early stages of the NFL season, dislocated his ankle and is now out for the season. Meanwhile, on the other side, as I mentioned earlier, San Francisco lost in Houston, and now they have to go further east to the New York Football Giants to play a game out there in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Again, 49ers are 2.5-point favorites. Ace, we'll start with you here since LaVon is not around. We'll start with you. Go ahead and give your pick for this game.
I'm taking the Niners. Brock Purdy is going to give it a go to try to start this week after that turf toe injury. But even so, Mac Jones has been playing good enough, and the receivers keep getting healthier. So it looks like they're going to have an opportunity to get Ricky Pearsall on the field. And the best running back is going to be playing, and that's still McCarthy. So as long as McCarthy can play, I think that San Francisco is going to win. Give me the Niners. McCaffrey.
LaVar, we're going to come over to you so you can make two picks real quick here. First game was the Patriots versus the Falcons. Patriots are 5.5-point favorites here at home against the Falcons. Over under is 45. And then we just finished previewing the Giants and the 49ers, the 49ers being 2.5-point favorites and the over-under in that game being 48. So I'm going to come to you, give us your two picks, Patriots versus the Falcons, and then 49ers versus the Giants.
Pats and Falcons. I heard what you said about Penix. He's not altogether healthy, but who is at this point? Did you guys say Kirk demanded a trade?
He did.
Requested a trade.
There is information out there that he has requested a trade.
So there's an issue there. If Penix is not healthy, and then they got the backup quarterback who's trying to get out of Dodge, and then they're going on the road against a very well coached, very well oiled, and smooth operation Mike Vrabel's got going out there in New England. And if they keep rolling like this, they're gonna win that division. And I'm pretty sure that's what they got their eye on because they know their schedule isn't the strongest. So I like the Patriots in this game, and this is my third lock of the week. And moving on to Giants versus Niners. The Giants have been a much better team at home than they have been on the road this year. They had that road loss against the Saints, which was one of their worst losses of the year, considering the talent level on the team at the time. I'm trying not to let my fandom get the better of me here, and I'm trying to be optimistic and objective more than optimistic about this game. Being that the Giants are at home, the Niners are banged up. We don't know if it's going to be Purdy or Jones in this game. The Niners are missing their two best defensive players in Warner and Bosa, and they will not be coming back. I heard what you heard. I heard what Ace said about Pearsall. I don't know if he's going to play in this game either, but the Niners do still have Kittle and McCaffrey, and the Giant defense has been susceptible to tight end play, and they can't stop the run. But with that being said, coming off a bad loss, playing at home, I think the Giants, I got the Giants in this game. I originally picked the 49ers, but that was because I was angry. Objectively, I'm gonna stick with the Giants. I think the Giants come out, play hard. There's a lot of criticism this week. I'm not gonna get too deep into that because it's gonna be my shout out. And I got the Giants. No lock though.
I do agree with one thing that you said, LaVon. I do believe that the Giants are going to come out. They're going to play hard. They're going to play. Jackson Dart to me has that team. Still has that team, hyped and energized, and has that city energized. I've listened to some New York sports radio over the course of the past couple of weeks, and even though they lost their last two games, the energy around the rookie quarterback has still been pretty high. And the praise for him has still been pretty high despite despite the struggles of the team at this point. So I do think they'll play hard. They'll play, as fast as they can possibly play. There definitely is a talent deficiency just due to the injuries on the Giants roster. But I think eventually, because this number is so low, is at 2.5, it's under 3. I like the 49ers to win this game by a field goal. And so because of that, I'll take the 49ers, and this is going to be my second lock of the week. I think the Niners are just they're the better. The one thing I can say is, even though they're injured, I don't know that they're the better or the more talented team at this point. The talent levels might very well be even, although they do have the best number one player, being Christian McCaffrey. He's still healthy, so he's still probably the best player between both of these teams, and I think they're better coached at this point. I think it's pretty safe to say that not Schottenheimer. Shanahan is one of the better coaches in the NFL right now, and he can get this team ready to go and go ahead and play and win in New York. So I'm going to take the Niners, and because of the 2.5 points, I'm going to lock this in. I think, like I said, they win by a field goal, even regardless of whether or not they have Purdy or Jones out there. And over to you.
Yeah, I'm going to take the 49ers as well. I'm going to take the under this one. I believe the Giants, like you said earlier, the Giants is going to definitely give them a hard game. You got a rookie quarterback, and he's playing hard. He doesn't really know that much in the NFL, but he's just playing out of his mind right now. I think the team is riding on that, and I think they're going to definitely give the 49ers a good game. But not only you got Shanahan over there, but you also have Robert Saleh that can definitely call a good defense. So definitely give the 49ers the edge on this one, even though I believe the Giants is going to be at home, but still. I'm going to go with the 49ers in this one. I'm going to make the under. This is going to be my second lock of the week.
All right. Moving over to the next game. Colts at the Steelers. The Indianapolis Colts are on the road, and they're giving 3 points to the home Steelers. The Steelers are coming off of that loss on Sunday Night Football, as I mentioned earlier, against the Packers in what was supposed to be a revenge game for the quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Meanwhile, the Indianapolis Colts are still moving forward with their blowout victory over the Tennessee Titans at home, 38-14. They covered a huge 14.5-point spread, and unfortunately, the Pittsburgh Steelers were unable to cover their last spread at 2.5, getting 2.5 points against the Packers. The Colts are everybody's favorite right now, everybody's darling right now going into this situation, and the Steelers are everybody's dud, unfortunately, at this point. It seems like all of the good fortune or the good vibes that were around the Steelers and their team going into a couple of weeks ago have all but faded away, while the Colts are still seem to be the Cinderella story of the season thus far. And I'm going to start with you here. The Colts again are 3-point favorites. The over-under is 50.5. What are you thinking?
I'm going to go with the Steelers on this one. I think they're still going to they still have a chance to pull things off at the end. I'm going to take the under this one. The Steelers, in my opinion, still going to have has that fight in them. They got the older team, and they can maybe start to expose this Colts offense or whatever and see what weaknesses that they have. I still like the team, but the thing is that it's still basically a fad right now. We don't really know if Daniel Jones can keep pulling this off. If he can keep on going, if he can definitely lead this team to the playoffs, then definitely will prove something. It just basically prove that he's in the right system right now. But as far as for this game, I still got to believe in Mike Tomlin a little bit here. He's been doing it for years and years. As far as for getting his team ready to go, I think this is a type of game that he will try to win. So I'm going to go with Steelers. I'm going to take the under.
All right, Levon, over to you.
Yeah, 8 games is not a fad. I was willing to believe that 4 games, maybe 5, but we're 8 games in, and the Colts and Daniel Jones are cruising along, and I don't see a reason as to why this game would be any different. I'm shocked the number is what it is on this game. If the line is where it's at, I think that's low. I think Pittsburgh's defense is proven to be slow and old and can be outmatched, especially by this Colts offense, which has been the most balanced in the league so far this year. I don't know if the line is because this game is in Pittsburgh. This might just be one of those games that shows I know very little about sports betting, and if it's as close as it appears to be, then I will concede that because I think the Colts win this game, and I think they win this game going away. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near this close. And I picked the Colts in this game. I didn't lock it in, though.
All right, Ace, over to you.
I am locking in the Colts for my second lock of the week. The Pats don't run the ball well, which makes them a bit one-dimensional, and the Colts' run defense has been very good. The Pats are 3-4 against the spread, and the Colts are 6-2, 2-1 on the road. Pittsburgh's 2-2 at home. They just lost to a better team in terms of Green Bay. This team has already had their bye week, and they already look tired. I'm taking the Colts, and I expect them to crush. If I hadn't already taken them in Survivor, I'd take them again. Locking the Colts.
Yeah, there's a part of me that wants to take the Steelers here. And that might be just nostalgia. That might be the idea that, a Mike Tomlin coach team that has surrendered 33 and 35 points in the last two games is just really, really not what you expect from a Mike Tomlin coach team and a Mike Tomlin coach defense. Anthony was talking about a little bit earlier that this is an old veteran defense. This is, again, the most expensive. This is the second year that the Pittsburgh Steelers have the most expensive defense in the NFL. And unfortunately, this year, that expensive defense is not producing anywhere near at the level that they should be for the money that's being spent on them. So they've been horrible. They've absolutely been horrible. And this has been relatively clear for at least for the last 2 weeks. LeVon's right, in my opinion. 8 games is not a fluke. Daniel Jones is really doing this thing for the Colts. But more importantly, I was watching a show recently. If you go back and look at the 2012 season, when Adrian Peterson was the last non-quarterback to win the MVP award. He rushed for over 2,000 yards that year. Jonathan Taylor is outpacing him in every single statistical category, including touchdowns, where Jonathan Taylor has 12 in 8 games. That's freaking incredible. And if he's continuing to do that, he might just win the damn MVP going away. Honestly, if he's able to continue doing that, he may surpass Saquon. Saquon Barkley was probably everybody's pick for like the greatest single running back season. But if Taylor continues on this path, he's going to do it. He's going to eclipse Saquon in yards, touchdowns, all of that stuff. And he's pacing a team that's, got tons of momentum at this point. So I'm going to take the Colts. I say all of that to say I'm going to take the Colts. I'm going to take the under. And I'm going to lock this in as my third lock of the week as well.
Man's averaging 106 yards a game and 5.9 yards a carry.
How many locks do I have?
You have 2.
Okay, I'm going to make this my lock too because I don't know how many games are left.
There's a good number of games. About 6 games left.
I won't risk it. I'll lock this in.
You're locking in the Steelers?
Yeah, I believe in Mike Tomlin.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, next up, we have the Chargers at the Titans. The Chargers are 8.5-point favorites going to Tennessee. The Chargers were able to get right in their last game against the Minnesota Vikings. Won that game going away at home, 37-10, covered a 3.5-point spread. The Titans, on the other hand, lost again, as I mentioned, to Indianapolis on the road, and they return home a beaten and battered team. Again, 8.5 points is the spread here, 43.5 for the game. Not going to take too long on the breakdown here. Just going to start with Ace. What are you thinking?
The Titans stink and the Chargers are good. Give me the Chargers.
All right, Chargers, Ace. Ant, over to you.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Ace. I'm going to go the same exact route. Chargers are good, Titans not. Chargers in the under.
All right, Levon.
Yeah, it's irresponsible to pick the Titans in any game going forward. If they win, it's just a miracle. Give me the Chargers, and I'm locking that in for my fourth one.
All right, Chargers on the road, lock it in. Yeah, it's a sweep here. Chargers are the better team. They're the better coach team. They're the better playing team. The Titans have already fired their coach. They are, not, they're not playing at any real level right now that bodes any kind of confidence in picking them. Calvin Ridley has still not practiced this week, so that's still a problem for them. They're talent deficient. Cam Ward is playing the hardest he possibly can, but he's still a rookie. So what can you really expect from this team? My hope is that maybe one or two of these the good players, the Jonathan Simmons, the Arden Keys, one of those guys is able to get moved in a trade and play for a potential playoff berth, some championship or something, because they're kind of wasted away in this situation. So
They're going to be sitting down the road,
Chargers. I will take the Chargers here as well. No lock for me. I'm saving my last two locks for another couple of games, but I'll take the Chargers here, and I'll give that 8.5. Ace, if you're talking, you're muted.
Still muted.
You're still muted. Sorry.
The Chargers have Khalil Mack back as well, but also this line has moved from 8.5 on Wednesday to 10 on Thursday. So if you can find it's -10 now. So if you can find the Chargers at -9.5, go ahead and take it. Take it. Get that if you can.
Take it, definitely.
Take it and run.
Definitely. All right, next up, we got the Rams. We got the Saints going to the Rams. The Rams hosting the Saints. This is the largest spread of the week. The Rams are giving 14 points to the Saints. The Saints are coming off of a home loss against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the Rams are coming off of their bye, if I'm not mistaken. They won their last game at Jacksonville in impressive fashion over there. One thing we can say that the Saints are starting Tyler Shook. He's getting the first start of his NFL career after they benched Spencer Rattler and sat him, and now he is the backup over there. Again, the over-under on this game is 43.5, and the line is 14. Levon, we'll start with you.
Spencer Rattler got his lone NFL win against my Giants. And that was when the Saints were at home and they got the benefit of 5 turnovers. Outside of that, they have lost every game they've played this season. They're going on the road, starting a rookie quarterback who couldn't win the job over Spencer Rattler in the preseason battle that they both engaged in. Not a good team, much like the Titans. It's irresponsible to pick the Saints in any game this year. If they happen to win, it is just an upset. Give me the Rams, and this is my last lock of the week. Points be damned. The Rams are going to roll.
All right, laying 14 points here. I'll go second. The trend so far is Saints lose 4, win 1, Saints lose 3, and now we're at week 9. So it looks like they're in line for another loss, but they probably will lose this game. But because the number is where it is, I'm going to take the Saints. I'm going to take the Saints because I think that they will play as conventional and not to lose, and unexplosive as they can possibly play. This will be a heavy Alvin Kamara game. They'll run the football. They'll try to keep it close. I don't think they win. Like I've said already, I don't think they win this game, but I think that the Rams will keep them around long enough, and I think that they lose by 10 to 12 points. So I just like the number here, not locking it in, but I will take those 14 points. I think maybe there's a boost there for the team going to their rookie quarterback, just like the Giants had when they went with Jackson Dart. It seems like most teams, when they make a change like that, they get a little bit of a momentum, and maybe that carries them to a cover, if not a victory. So I'll take the Saints, and I will take the under in this game. Also, the Rams, as good as the Rams are, they do have a tendency to play down to their level on occasion. We've seen them have games where they struggle to score at times. And even though they won 35-7, like they went to Baltimore, they won 17-3. They weren't able to muster more than 26 points in any game aside from the second game of the season when they won in Tennessee. So they're up and down offensively, and that could bode well for the Saints to get a cover. So I'll take the Saints, no lock.
They crushed the Jags, didn't they?
They did. That was the last game. And they were on their bye. So that's why I said, like, I think they'll win, but I could see a cover here for the Saints. Wouldn't be surprised. Ant, over to you.
It was Saints versus who again? Oh, yeah, the Rams. I don't see the rookie's just lucky that Aaron Donald's not there because his back might be broken. Pause. But I'm gonna go with the Rams on this one, and I'm gonna take the I'm gonna go with the over in this one. I think they're just gonna beat the snot out of them. I'm sorry, but there's nothing's gonna happen here. Rookie's not gonna come out. There's a reason why this guy, hasn't been starting until now. So I'm just definitely gonna go with the Rams on this one. I'm not gonna lock this in, but actually, you know what? Give me the under in this one, but I'm not gonna lock this in.
All right, Ace, over to you.
The Saints didn't give up a passing touchdown and last week, and they still lost 23-3. So somehow, some way, they're going to find a way to lose this game. Cam Jordan is a career Saint, and unfortunately, he is not going to get a dub in LA. I hope they enjoy Saturday night because they will not be enjoying Sunday afternoon. Give me the Rams.
All right. Next up, Jaguars at the Raiders. The Raiders are giving 3 points to the Jags. The Jags are coming off of, if I'm not mistaken, they're coming off of their bye week last week. But prior to that, they lost to the Rams, as I mentioned earlier. The Raiders are as well coming off of their bye week after their 31-0 thumping from the Kansas City Chiefs. So both of these teams are reeling after bad losses and their respective byes. The Raiders are 3-point favorites at home against the Jags, which is the standard three for being the home team. So it means Vegas thinks that these teams are relatively evenly matched. The over-under in this game is 44.5. Ace, we'll start back with you. What's your pick here?
This is going to be my third lock of the week, and I'm locking in the Jags getting 3 points. I'm sorry, giving 3 points. My bad.
The Jags are getting 3.
The Jags are getting 3?
The Raiders are giving, yeah.
Oh,
the Raiders are giving.
Okay, I'm taking the Jags getting 3 points then. I thought it was the other way around, but either way, I really don't care.
Nope. I'm sorry. Flip it. I'm sorry. Flip it. I'm sorry. I'm reading it wrong. It's late. It's late right now. It is almost midnight on Thursday night.
It's almost Halloween. The Jags are giving 3 points. On Thursday night. Geno Smith has 10 interceptions and has 7 passing touchdowns. The Jags don't exactly have the best back-end defense in terms of coverage, but I only know one guy who's catching any touchdown passes, and that's Trey Tucker, who I've never heard of before. And 2 of those came in the first game against the Patriots until they figured out their defense. So unless somebody knows something I don't know about Ashton Jeanty and him just going off in this game, I think the Jags are going to win, and they should win easily. So I'm locking in the Jags.
All right, Ant, over to you.
Gino hasn't rolled back in a long time, so I'm going to go with the Jags this one as well, and I'm going to take the over. I'm sorry, but they need to actually come through and do something else until they prove me wrong on this. I'm going to go against them. They're another team that I do not trust. So give me Jags in the over.
it just feels muddy and dirty to pick the Raiders, to pick either one of these teams, actually. The Jags are the better team. They absolutely are the better team. We know this already. But the Jags have been so up and down, so unpredictable. And it all starts with their quarterback, in my opinion. Trevor Lawrence just has high highs, low lows, no middle. And we just don't know what he could potentially do. But the lowest of lows in this so far this season has been Geno Smith. He has hit depths that I don't think any other quarterback other than maybe Tua has seen thus far this year. So I'm going to take the Jags, but I'm not locking this in because I don't want to. I'll take the Jags in the under. LaVon, over to you.
Damn, yeah, say this. Dang, you know it's bad.
Yeah, it's not much to add. You guys pretty much hit it on everything. I'm going with the Jags as well. Yes, it's nothing, not sadder, but to have a bridge quarterback as your quarterback and not have the main guy somewhere in the pipe or in the near future. It's rough. It's rough in Raider Nation right now. There's not a lot going on in Vegas outside of the gambling. That team should probably gut and look to start over as soon as possible. And Jacksonville is maddeningly inconsistent. And it does start with their quarterback, and the new coach is trying to implement a system and a culture down there. And 1 minute it looks good, and the next minute it looks like no hope hotel. So, but I'm taking the Jags in this one in a very uninteresting game with two pretty much dead end teams that don't look like they're going anywhere but mediocrity.
And surprisingly, we all believed that the Jags had something at the beginning of the season.
Well, I mean, I do. They have talent. You just like you said, they got a ton of talent, but it's night and day.
They're just playing better than the terrible teams in their division. That's really all it is.
It's night and day, and that's also true, except the Colts, though. I mean,
the Colts are in the although I keep forgetting the Colts aren't in the AFC North. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, Colts are the only team. Texans are starting to wake up. We'll see this week. Texans might wake up and make it interesting, but right now it's all Colts.
Yep. All right, next up, Chiefs at the Bills. Surprisingly, this game is not on primetime, and that might just be because people are tired of seeing Josh Allen play against Patrick Mahomes on primetime. They just don't want to see the damn shit anymore. They don't want to see the shit anymore. It's going to be a 4:25 game, probably going to be either Fox or CBS, probably CBS's game of the week. You're probably going to get Tony Romo calling this one because that's what they do.
Oh, gee.
But the the Chiefs are 2-point favorites here in Buffalo, going to Orchard Park in probably Patrick Mahomes' last game at Highmark. Is that called Highmark Stadium in Buffalo?
I think it's Rich Field.
Yeah.
It's called what?
Rich Stadium.
No, it's hot. It's Highmark. Don't listen
It's
to him.
Highmark.
New
Okay.
Era Field, I
All
believe
right.
it is.
Highmark Stadium. Patrick Mahomes' last game at Highmark Stadium.
Ralph Wilson Stadium.
The Bills are coming off of their bye after losing that game against in Atlanta. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. They won in Atlanta. They lost in Atlanta. They won against Carolina last week. I'm sorry. That was the blowout fashion that they won. And the Chiefs dispatched the Washington Commanders pretty handily on Monday Night Football a few days ago, 28-7 at home. The Chiefs have won 3 straight, all of those games being home games, and now they find themselves on the road for the first time in a month, playing against the Bills. The over-under again is 52.5 in this one, so it's the highest, almost the highest over/under for the week, and the spread is Chiefs -2. LaVon, I'm gonna start with you here.
This is the toughest game to call. Well, no. It's one of the toughest games to call. The other one, which one was it? Was the Texans game, in my opinion. But this is a tough one to call. Buffalo usually has a chance. If this game was in Kansas City, it would be a no-brainer for me. But because it's in Buffalo, Buffalo usually wins this early season, meaningless regular season game between themselves and the Chiefs that's played in Buffalo, and then they get their hopes up. And then they go to the playoffs and get crushed by the Chiefs. But the Chiefs are trying to make a statement. They finally got all their weapons back. Mahomes is playing regular Patrick Mahomes football. They're a savvy team. They are still one of the best, well-coached teams in the league. They don't really make a ton of mistakes, and the mistakes they do make get covered up by the NFL and the officials. So
Wow, I'm not
All
the only
that
one saying
means
this no more.
no. We're going to say it. It's true. We're not paid by the league. We're not talking heads. No one's telling us to be quiet. It's obvious, but we'll get to that later. Buffalo has been underachieving all year, and Ed Oliver is out, and their defense hasn't been playing very well. So this should be a shootout. It's hard for me to pick against Kansas City, so I'm not going to do it here. I'm taking the Chiefs, and I used all my locks, and I don't think anyone should lock this game in, but I'm interested to see what you guys think.
All right, Ant.
Oh, I'm definitely locking this in. This is gonna be what's the name? The Chiefs going over to Buffalo, right?
Yep.
Buffalo's gonna be at home. Yeah, so his Ref's Kingdom is heading over to to Buffalo to play against the Bills. They got to make up their losses and stuff like that. They still got to build up their wins and stuff. So yeah, there's going to be no Taylor Swift there. There's going to be quite a time where they can hide everything. Actually, you know what? Taylor Swift might show up, but they're definitely hiding exactly what's going to happen with these refs. You know, that's all the reason why this game is on there at this time, and they didn't, allocate it till later. So I'm gonna go with the Chiefs on this one. Definitely locking this in, taking it over because it's gonna be a what's the name, a shootout. I think that's my fourth lock of the week.
Yes, that is your fourth. I'm gonna take the Bills. Levon has made a great point early on about Josh Allen's record against Patrick Mahomes in the regular season. He's 4-1 in his career in the regular season, and he's 0-4 in his career against him in the postseason. This is still a regular season game. We have not flipped the calendar has not flipped over into January yet. So this game there's nothing on the there's nothing like on there's nothing at stake here other than
feel like
just
January Buffalo today,
other than
this week.
just other than just bragging rights and the potential for Josh Allen and the Bills to continue playing towards that number one seed. That is the one thing that they definitely need to do. They need to continue trying to win because the Colts, they don't want to let the Colts run away from them. And the Colts are going to run away with the number one seed if they're not careful. So I think that the Bills have a lot to play for here. The Chiefs are obviously still really good. They're 4-3. They don't want to fall to 4-4. But even if they were to fall 4-4, they're still definitely within striking distance of both the playoff position and still their division. And the other side of it is the Chiefs know that they can go on the road and win if they need to as well. One of their Super Bowl, at least their Super Bowl journeys, had them go on the road 3 times and win those games. In particular, one of those games being in Buffalo against the Bills. So I'll take the Bills, no lock. I'll take the Bills to play hard here, get this win, have everybody talking glowingly about them for another few days. Until they meet the Chiefs again in the playoffs and lose outright. So I'll take the Bills, no lock. I want the points in this situation. A home team as good as the Bills are, getting points just makes sense. So I'll take the Bills, no lock. Ace.
Both of these teams are currently in the wild card if the playoffs started today. I just want everybody to understand that. The Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs are currently in the wild card. And the Chiefs are the third wild card team behind the Chargers and the Bills. And if they lose this game and Jacksonville wins, guess who they're also behind because they lost to Jacksonville? They're not in the playoffs if they lose this game. They would not be in the playoffs after week 9 if they lose this game and the Jags just got to beat the Las Vegas Raiders. So I just want everybody to realize how important this game actually is to both of these teams. Forget catching the Colts. They just need to win a damn game. If they lose this game, they could actually not make the playoffs after making the Super Bowl 3 years in a row. These teams the defense is going to be playing as hard as they possibly can. If Mahomes tries to lower the shoulder on somebody, they're just going to light him up and take the penalty. And hopefully he'll be healthy enough to finish the game. That's how I see it's going to go. They have Rashee Rice. They have Xavier Worthy. They have the speed on the outside, so that should definitely help. For whatever reason, the Bills always beat them in the regular season. The Bills have a huge advantage in being able to actually run the ball and throw it. Kansas City cannot run the ball. Kareem Hunt is 30. He's not dead, but he is not exactly a fleet of foot anymore. I'm taking the Bills because they're getting points and they're at home and they know how much this game win means. I'm going to be taking the under. They're going to be playing too high safety the whole game and trying to keep everybody in front of them. Give me the Bills.
All right. Sunday Night Football. Seahawks at the Commanders. The Commanders look like Jaden Daniels is going to return to the roster or to the starting lineup for the Commanders at home. They're getting 3 points at home against the Seahawks. And again, like I said, and the Seahawks, and they're coming off of a huge loss against the Kansas City Chiefs last week. Meanwhile, the Seattle Seahawks are coming off of their bye. They won in Houston right before their bye, and now they're coming back in. So this has been a good 11-day stretch for them. And they're giving 3 points. The over-under on this game is 47.5. Sunday Night Football. I'll go first on this one. This is my fourth lock. Yes, this is going to be my fourth lock of the week. I like the Seahawks. I like the Seahawks giving 3 points here to the Commanders. I've made my comments very, very clear about what I think about the Commanders as a team, especially with that on the defensive side and with their age showing on that side of the ball. The Commanders have lost 3 straight. And aside from that loss to the Chicago Bears a couple of weeks ago, the other 2 losses at Dallas and at Kansas City were not very close. And their losses to Atlanta, every loss aside from that Bears loss has not been close for the Washington Commanders this year. So when they lose, they don't lose by 3, they lose big. And I don't think they're going to win this game. Seattle, kind of like Indianapolis, in my opinion, is one of those well-rounded teams. They're playing well on offense. They're playing well on defense. The quarterback is playing very, very well, and he has a dominant receiving option in Jackson Smith and Jigba. Washington does seem to be a little bit healthy, especially with their skill position players. Debo's back. McLaurin looks like he is going to be out with that quad issue, but they do have a lot of their other skill position players coming back, and it looks like the shine is off of Bill Krosky-Merritt. He had a good first couple of weeks as a rookie, and he's now back to form. So I'm going to take the Seahawks here, and I'm going to lock this in as my fourth lock of the week, and I will take the over. Levon, over to you.
I agree with everything you said. Seattle's a better team. They're solid on both sides of the football. And Sam Darnold's picked up right where he left off, not in the playoffs, but regular season form, at least from when he was at Minnesota. JMS looks really good out there, setting all kind of, I don't know if he's setting records, but it looks like he's setting records. He's just smooth out there, ideal receiver, slot, outside the numbers. And they got a solid running game. 2-headed monster, if I'm not mistaken. I think they got 2.
Charbonnet and Walker.
Charbonnet and the other kid's name, I can't think of it. But
Walker.
Yeah. And then on defense, Leonard Williams is out there, the fountain of youth, playing well. Their secondary is a bit I know Julian Love has been in and out of the lineup. It looked like they wanted to part ways with Woolen for a minute, but I haven't heard anything recently. And the Witherspoon kid has been average to good after starting his career off looking like good to great. But the thing about Seattle is they're not the same team on the road that they are at home, and that can be said about a lot of teams, but more so for them. And if the Commanders drop this game, then the shine is off that whole team. Then all of that good momentum they built up last year going to the NFC Championship game is for naught. And people are going to really start realizing that they're old, and Jaden Daniels is good, but he's not really surrounded by the type of talent he should be for them to sustain any type of winning. But I said all that to say that there's definitely going to be a game or 2 or 3 that do not go the way they are supposed to. And I think this is that game. I think Seattle should roll, but with Jaden coming back and with this team trying to keep some kind of pace and keep their playoff hopes alive, I think the Commanders win this game. And that's who I picked. I got the Commanders.
All right. Ant.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yep.
What game we picking?
Man.
Seahawks at Commanders.
Oh, okay.
Damn.
Um,
Heard nothing I said. Did you hear Malik at least?
It's
I
late
didn't
at
hear
night.
nothing. No, I wasn't really paying attention. Sorry, I was doing something.
It's late. It's late at night.
Um,
Checked
I'm
out.
just gonna go with Sam Darnold in Seattle and gonna take the over, just because it's Sam there.
All right.
All right. And
There's no
Ace.
real science behind it.
Over to you, Ace.
I got science. I'm going with Seattle because they're the better team. Washington's defense is not good. It's Sunday night, so Seattle's going to have a chance to acclimate to the time difference. It's not going to affect them. It's going to feel like it's they're playing at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So to them, it's going to feel like they're playing at 4. Regardless, they're going to beat the brakes off of the commies. Give me Seattle, and I'm locking it in for my 4th lock of the week. I agree with Malik completely. Also, Seattle's 3-0 on the road, and they're 5-2 on the season, leading the NFC West.
All right. And last but definitely not least, we have the Arizona Cardinals traveling to Dallas to face the
You skipped a little bit.
It picked back up.
Yeah.
No, the recording stopped. I got a message that the recording stopped. But anyway, pick back up.
Okay.
All right, the Cowboys. Oh, sorry. Last but not least, we have the Arizona Cardinals going to Dallas to face the Dallas Cowboys on Monday Night Football. The Cowboys are favored by 2.5 points, and the over/under in this game is 54. The Cardinals are coming off of their bye. They lost against Green Bay at home, 27-23. Meanwhile, Dallas got their asses kicked in Denver by 20 points there, 44-24. The Dallas Cowboys they can't seem to muster up anything on the defensive side of the ball. Meanwhile, their offense still seems to cook. I don't know why this line is only 2.5. I'm really still trying to figure that out. I don't know if people think that the return of Kyler Murray is going to really level things out, or if they just believe that the Cardinals offense is good enough to hang with the Dallas Cowboys offense. I just know it's prime time, it's Jerry World, it's Monday Night Football, and this is the type of game where the Cowboys go, they roll, they have a good time, and everybody's loving them for the next 6 days. So I'm rolling with the Cowboys here. This is my last lock of the week. I will lay these 2.5 points gladly, and I would be highly surprised if the Cardinals are able to hang with them, even though the Dallas Cowboys defense is about as bad as you can possibly get in the NFL. So I will lay those 2 points. Rolling with the Cowboys is my 5th and final lock of the week. Ant, over to you.
Well, y'all know me. I never really roll with Benji Mike over here, so I'm gonna go with Cowboys. I'm gonna take the over in this one, locking it in since there's no other games after this. Like you said earlier, it's Jerry World, so that means Michael Irvin, everybody else, Stephen, what's the name, Skip, and all those Dallas Cowboy loving people are gonna be showing up. It's gonna be a whole spectacle, and they don't want to look. They're gonna be a lot. They're gonna be a lot of television. Everybody focusing on them. So give me the Cowboys. Give me the over. Locking it in.
Vaughn.
Yeah, give me the Cowboys as well. I don't think Kyler and them are going to be able to hang and put up those points with Dak. And their defense isn't like Denver's defense. It's not going to be too many stops in this game. It'll be an up and down affair. And I believe more in Dak than I do in Kyler.
Ace.
How about them
Close it out.
Cowboys? I'm locking them in. I don't care what the point spread is. It's -2.5 for the Cowboys. It could be -7.5. The Cardinals don't stand a chance. I don't even know if Emery DeMarcado is going to be playing running back for them. But what I do know is the Cardinals are not going to win. The one time they had a chance to do me a favor and hold on to a lead and beat Green Bay, you couldn't do it. So you're not going to probably win too many more games. Kyler Murray is on his way out as a quarterback. Maybe they trade him. Maybe they don't. I don't know. But they're going to tear it all down, and Jonathan Gannon's going to lose his job, unfortunately, because of it. Unless the owner's just too cheap to fire him and get a new head coach. Give me the Cowboys. Lock it in.
All right. With that, we are done. Before we get into the shout-outs, let's go over our locks once more. Ace is locking in the Patriots, the Colts, the Jaguars, the Seahawks, and the Cowboys. Ant is locking in the Broncos, the 49ers, the Steelers, the Chiefs, and the Cowboys. I am locking in the Patriots, 49ers, Colts, Seahawks, and the Cowboys. And Levon is locking in the Lions, Packers, Patriots, Chargers, and Rams. All right. Shout outs, fellas. What you got? Ant, you want to kick us off?
Damn, trying to remember my shout. Oh yeah. Sorry to say, yes, he was supposed to show up again tonight. Unfortunately, he didn't show up. Shout out for Christoph Porzingis. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it tonight. But anyway, and also rest in peace, Nick Mangold. Unfortunately, he died this Sunday of a kidney failure. He had a kidney disease. It was really messed up. A week before this, he was actually asking everybody and anybody if they have any type of donations, if they could donate their kidney or whatever like that, if anything can come up. But unfortunately, he didn't make it. And shout out to you. Rest in peace. And now, Cody, if you guys are listening to this, I can fast forward because this is gonna be my Jets rant. So, F you, Woody Johnson again, because I heard there's another quarterback of Jordan Travis, that you was bitching and moaning about. You actually go in the locker room and literally told a player that actually goes outside and play. When is your legs gonna get fixed? And can go out and play or whatever, like a jackass. This kid was hurt. When you guys got him, and you still is just treated like the rest of the quarterbacks. F you. And I'm glad that Justin Fields actually used you as motivation to get out of his funk. Hopefully that he breaks out of this, because even though I get on him, whatever, on Justin Fields, I know that everything is really mental with him. If as you can see, when the mental part was broken, he was actually doing his thing, even though it was against a horrible defense. So, but anyway, shout out to you on this one. I forgot what the rest of my shout outs is gonna be, but you know what? Shout out to shout out, shout out to Darren Muji. I'm my general manager. He made some good into season trades. Yeah, and shout outs to also for what's the name? I forgot. I'm gonna forget all these things. I had them written before, but I had to close my laptop out. But anyway, whatever. I'll just do the shout outs next week. It's always usually Jets related mostly. But anyway, I know I had some other stuff in there. Oh yeah, another part I was going to shout out to. I said it in my list when I was listening to players and coaches. Shout out to Herman Edwards once again. 2002. This date that we're recording, well, is quite a later date for y'all guys, but it was October 30th, 2002, that he came out with that famous speech of "You play to win the game." Shout out to him. Still one of my favorite coaches of all time. I'm done.
Most obvious of statements ever made, and it was it's a classic. It's a classic. I didn't know that you played to win the game. I didn't know that. I didn't.
Hello.
You play to win the game.
To win the game. Hello. Oh man. I have two shout outs. Two and a possible. Normally my shout outs are really short and sweet because I don't really have anything. But I got something. Tonight. Shout out to the NFL. And usually a shout out is usually something good to congratulate or to bring recognition in a positive light to something. But I have to bring and shine a negative light for any and all who might hear this in hopes that we can rise up and invoke some change, that the league that we promote, have watched, glorified, supported, will get off of its respective rear ends and do something about the officiating going on in the National Football League. For years upon years, we have watched these games be officiated poorly, irresponsibly, without accountability, and the outcome of these games, the outcome of the health of the players, the integrity of the games is in question. Not just because of what recently has come up in the National Basketball Association, but just overall the unwillingness to correct obvious mistakes in this day and age when we have the technology, when we have the ability to go back and to change things and to right these wrongs. And the unwillingness to do so needs to be addressed. And because I'm a Giants fan, I'm going to point out very specifically the tush push. The tush push, which is solely responsible for a football team's success over the past 2 years, their ability to prolong drives, to convert on short yardage situations, and make it so that they essentially only have to play real football for 3 downs when the rest of the league has to play for 4. This this formation, which I don't have a problem with competitively, but when the play cannot be officiated consistently and does not abide by the rules set forth by the National Football League and is evident through video replay captured on video, is absurd that we are allowing this to continue. It's not a football play. Obviously, if there was any question if it was a football play, that question has gone away and has died. And I take you back to last Sunday. I can't remember the down and distance. Tush push, not at the goal line. Jalen Hurts, with ball in hand, stretches ball out, moving forward, has the ball taken from him before he is down because he is resting on top of another player. No whistle, no stoppage in play. This is ruled that forward progress has stopped. When video evidence clearly shows that that is not what happened. And I do not understand how something can be captured on video for human eyeballs to see, and you can still justify and let this. It was bad enough that we could see that the players were moving before the ball was snapped, and we turned a blind eye to it, but we can no longer turn a blind eye. We can no longer turn a blind eye. That just goes to show that the officiating in the league, the rules at which the officiating is allowed to continue, need to be revamped on as a whole. It's not enough to have challenges. It's not enough to give coaches the ability to challenge a play 3 times in a row. They need to hold these referees, these officials accountable. They need to make these officials fully paid employees of the league. They need to have these officials be reviewed, be rated, be penalized, be suspended if they don't do their jobs properly. It is directly affecting the outcome of these games, which directly affects revenue. It affects the integrity of the sport. Super Bowl was decided on a pass interference play where Juju Smith-Schuster was touched on his waist, on his thigh, and it was deemed a pass interference, which gave the Chiefs the ball in position to win the game in the Super Bowl. But yet, in a regular season game in which a defensive back is holding the hands of a wide receiver as he runs downfield, is not called. This cannot be allowed to continue. It is irresponsible. There's no reason for this to go on. And I, for the life of me, do not understand why it is allowed to continue when week after week we can see with our eyeballs inside our heads attached to our brains as adults that something is occurring that should not be. And for anyone who wants to say that, you don't want to talk about officiating because it doesn't affect wins and losses, you're an idiot. Because it does affect wins and losses. That is the whole point of the penalty itself. They're not throwing the flags and going on and saying, infraction, false start, no penalty, but we will be monitoring going forward. That is not the call. they attach yardage to this. Yardage, which leads to points or time of possession, which are things that account for wins and losses in a football game. So for anyone to sit there and say you can't really blame officials or worry about penalties because they can't be controlled and it's just a part of the game, that is a stupid and just irresponsible excuse for letting something flawed be allowed to continue. And I know this is probably thought that this is coming from me being upset that we lost to the Eagles, and there was a slew of calls that did not take place or did take place that cost us the game, and that's the truth. But it goes beyond that. It goes beyond the fact that our rookie running back, who I happen to enjoy watching every week, is now gone for the season because on the play before that, the officials, made a call that this shouldn't have made, which made it, down in distance that required us to even throw that pass in the first place. So it's a shame. And I don't know who's listening to this. I don't know if it'll get out, but it needs to. And enough people need to speak up because it's really making a lot of these games close to unwatchable, and not so much unwatchable because we'll always watch, but just not enjoyable. And my second shout out, this is more Giant centric, it's to Carl Banks. And I don't know if you guys know or heard, but Carl Banks recently went on his podcast, and he literally said to Dexter Lawrence, who's defensive tackle for my team, second team All-Pro, Pro Bowl defensive tackle in the National Football League, Dexter Lawrence. And he told the people listening, he was speaking, on Dexter Lawrence's lack of performance this year. He said, your opponents no longer respect you. And these are the exact words that he used. And he said this because Dexter Lawrence, who usually requires a double team because he's that type of talent in this league, usually beats a double team. Even with a double team, Dexter Lawrence can still get pressure on the quarterback. It's still good for 6 to 7. Sacks in the NFL season, and his stats, he's only got half a sack this year through 8 games, and he's playing below what his standard is. But the reason I bring that up is because in a day and age where we have so many analysts and the people who promote the sports we love not willing to say what they really feel and think because of how to be perceived to the masses, every once in a while somebody speaks up and actually says what they think and doesn't care how it's going to be perceived. And I just wanted to commend Carl for that. And I hope Dex sees that for what it is. And sometimes it's okay to be honest and curt and just keep it a buck and let people know what's really going on instead of, just trying to protect the bag and trying not to get canceled. But that could just be an old man screaming, "Get off my lawn." And that's all I got. Thank you for letting me go on so long. Appreciate it.
Welcome. Before y'all go, I just removed 2 more shout outs. I just want to do real quick. Sorry about that. My first shout out is just to y'all guys, because y'all guys are proving to me what I've been saying a long time. First it was the Kansas City thing, and now it's the tush push thing. I was the original one complaining about this on this show, and now it warms my heart that it's coming through. It's coming true. Y'all guys have finally seen that. My other shout out is basically, I know y'all guys remember this because we all went to high school together, but for everybody else out there, whatever, in our high school, we didn't have a real gym. We was playing light ball, and we was, dunking on the light and stuff like that. And I'd just like to give a shout out to Wemby because he's basically doing that right now in the NBA. He's playing light ball against these guys, doing the Hakeem Olajuwon dream shakes, doing step back crossovers and stuff like that from what's the name? I forgot the dude's name that was teaching him and stuff like that. But basically, he's basically an NBA 2K player that was created in early 2000s. When you're not supposed to make the tallest guy in the world in the game play, and destroy people with a 99. That's what basically he's been looking like for the last couple of games. But anyway, shout outs to him. Sorry to interrupt. I just remember those. I know it's not going to go over to next week, so I had to say it now.
All right, Ace.
Shout out to all the undefeated teams and the completely defeated teams in the NBA. There are 4 undefeated teams in the NBA: the San Antonio Spurs, the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Chicago Bulls somehow, and the Philadelphia 76ers.
Boo.
And the 2 teams that have not won a game, the Brooklyn Nets, because you know what you did, and the Indiana Pacers, who apparently were a one-man team, and they never should have let Miles Turner go. because instead you wanted to hold on to a bunch of low spades and keep that raggedy team together that you thought was better than the Knicks, and y'all haven't even won a game yet. So that's what you deserve. That's what you get. Yeah. And the New Orleans Saints, who somehow Zion's hurt already. They shaping his life. Lost 25, 30 pounds.
The Pelicans, yeah.
The New Orleans Pelicans ain't won a game. I said the Saints, same difference. They won one game. Okay? The Pelicans might not even tie them until the end of the year. Who knows? They might set a new record for losing like Detroit did when they didn't win a game. The last game they won was before Halloween, and the next game they won was after the New Year. And shout out to the Inside the NBA guys who are only going to be on television 2 more times before the end of the year. November 12th and December 25th. If you did not catch them on the 29th, this past Wednesday, hey, guess what? You're not going to see them 2 more times. They're going to work once a month. Once a month before January. It's a great job if you can get it. Keep hustling out there, fellas.
And I'll keep it short. I gave LeVon and you guys knocked it out of the park this week with your shout outs. But I'll keep it relatively short. Shout out number 1 to Scott Woodward. You guys don't know him. He's the former athletic director of LSU. He was the athletic director that fired. Yes, he was fired today. He was the athletic director that fired Brian Kelly from the LSU Tigers. Look, I've been on record for the past 3.5 years that I did not want Brian Kelly to be the head coach of my LSU Tigers. I said that not because Brian Kelly was a bad coach, not because Brian Kelly was, not the winningest coach in the history of Notre Dame football, and he absolutely was. But because Brian Kelly was, if people don't remember this, Brian Kelly was primed to retire from coaching. He was ready to retire from coaching. He had one foot out of the door. He was retiring from coaching, and he was leaving the fray. And he was lured back by a 10-year, $100 million contract that any one of us would have taken. But you could tell from the day he got there until the day he left that coaching this team and being a part of this program was not his number one concern. He was not concerned about recruiting. He was not concerned about any of the players on these teams. We lost a lot of guys to the transfer portal because of him. And despite that, we still were able to win 10 games every single year. And he was able to amass a 40-8 record. But you know what he didn't do? He didn't win any national championships. He didn't win any SEC championships. And in the fact that 2 of those years, Nick Saban wasn't even wasn't in college anymore. He wasn't even coaching any longer, and you still didn't win. Brian Kelly, you got $54 million, and I hope you enjoy every bit of it. He probably won't ever coach again. I hope you enjoy every bit of your money. You got your money, you got your buyout, and you're on your way. So shout out to Scott Woodward and LSU for finally getting it right and getting rid of him. Scott Woodward, unfortunately, was fired because you gave a $54 million buyout to Brian Kelly. And you were responsible for a $40-some-odd million buyout that LSU is still paying, or that the coaches are still paying. So you yourself are responsible for like $70 million in buyouts.
Wow.
So that's why you were fired. You were just fired from poor management there, unfortunately. But shout out to you for at the very least taking care of that business. And shout out to Aiden Hutchinson, and most importantly, Brad Holmes, GM of the Detroit Lions. Aiden Hutchinson signed his extension this week. He signed his extension for 4 years, $181 million. 141 of it is guaranteed, the highest guarantee for any non-quarterback in the history of the NFL. But still, from a cap perspective, less than the $48 million that Micah Parsons is charging against the Green Bay Packers cap. So because of that, the Lions are still able to make some moves within the margin and potentially improve their team before the trade deadline. So shout out to you for getting your bag, but also making it feasible for the team to improve around you. And shout out to Brad Holmes, because as I mentioned in the chat to you guys, Brad Holmes has now orchestrated the signing extensions to every single star player that he drafted since the 2021 draft. That's Kirby Joseph. That's Penei Sewell. That is now Aiden Hutchinson. That is
Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams.
Amon-Ra St. Brown. That is every single player every single star that he was able to, Jameson Williams, he is able to sign them to their extension, and he was able to sign them to extension before they hit that fourth year. So before he had to decide whether or not he was going to exercise a fifth year option, and before he had to franchise tag any players. This is one of the reasons why why players like to play for this team or play for this organization, because stuff gets ironed out quickly. Players don't have to go through those very, very difficult times where they have to deal with being franchise tagged or negotiations and all of those things. Negotiations get done, and when you do it the right way, you get to keep and retain your talented players. This is not something that the Detroit Lions were accustomed to having over the course of our history, and I'm just happy to see it. Don't know if it'll win a championship like LeVon's Giants have. Don't know if that'll ever happen for us, but we'll see. We're good. We're playing well, but most importantly, we're retaining our talent, and the players seem to be happy, and they seem to be happy, and they seem to be ready to go out there and run through a brick wall for their coach and their GM and their organization and their city, and that is great to hear. All right, we're out.
Oh,
it's been a long night.
Before we go, I'm just going to run through my college picks. Houston, -15. Vandy, taking them, they're minus. Ohio State, -23, -21.5 against Penn State. Texas Tech, -7.5. Memphis, -14. Washington State or Wazoo against Oregon State, -3.5. Buffalo playing Bowling Green, +2.5. Georgia Tech at home against NC State, -5.5. And Louisville hosting, I believe it is Virginia Tech, -10.5. And Northern Texas hosting Navy, -6.5 at home on Saturday. That's it for me. We out.
Peace.
Peace. Out.